The Morning Drive is sponsored by Power Metallic. To find out more about the company, please visit their website at powermetallic.com. Follow the Money Investor Group is a 100% Indigenous-owned company and certified with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business.
What's going on?
Well, PDAC, it's here. Interesting times, very interesting times. But there's optimism and pessimism and every ism in between. So it's certainly a bit volatile out there, I'd say.
A little closer.
Okay. Yeah.
Hold that a little up.
Okay.
When do you find out if you made it onto the board?
I made it on the board.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that makes our handshakes a little more awkward.
Yeah.
Today,
Yeah. We
You made it on?
Yeah, made it on. So
When do you start?
first board meeting's Wednesday, so we'll be bringing the Save Canadian Mining message to the board.
Yeah.
For sure. It was interesting. There was a presentation at the annual meeting yesterday, and a really good one, and they were going through some stats that were just terrifying to me and to the board too. How much money do you think was raised in Canada last year in equity?
All markets?
All markets, across everything.
Just give me a minute to think here. 1.5 billion.
No, man. I mean, it was 20 billion, but 20 billion is a fraction. We used to be raised 100 billion, and like 20 billion is like an IPO in the U.S.
Yeah.
Half of that luckily came from the mining sector, which was good. But I mean, the fact that we only raised 20 billion is scary for Canada. And then even on the mining sector, while we raised 10 billion, 70% of that was top 50 names. So there's like no money going to the to the mining sector, the smaller guys. So what do you think the average working capital is for a TSXV mining company?
See, I'm horrible to ask these questions. I just butchered the last one.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, say it again. I'll butcher it again, but
Okay.
whatever.
TSXV mining companies, what's the average working capital position?
Annually?
If you looked at the balance sheet right now, say they got $500,000, $5 million, $50 million, what would they say?
I wouldn't even know where to start, Terry.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, having a negative working capital is not a good thing. Would you agree?
Yeah.
They're negative.
So we're going to see a lot of consolidation in the sector then.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no choice, right? I mean, these guys are not going to survive. These things will get delisted, I guess. And of course, there's been a lot of, people say, well, that's one of the problems with Canada. They got too many companies and stuff like that, and there's some merit to that argument. But it speaks to the fact that the capitalist system, as we know it, the stock market in Canada is broken.
Yeah.
And that's the message that we need to be obviously delivering to the PDAC board, because they can do something. They have a powerful voice. We hope to harness that voice to hopefully advocate, the politicians to make the regulatory changes that we need to make to protect investors in this country. And so that's, we're excited about that. And then, I announced that I would be not being I'm right now, I'm the face of Save Canadian Mining and the MD of it, in addition to being the founder. And I just was so busy with Power Metallic, and obviously we've got all of our capital in there and so much support, and I need to devote 150% of my time to that. So I'm going to be on the board. I'll chair the board of the Save Canadian Mining Group, but we've identified a really great individual that will get on board here shortly, sort of late March. And
didn't you press release who was coming on?
I didn't, not yet, no, but we will. And that'll be a big coup for us, I think, and a great coup for the industry, because it's a national figure that's beyond repute, I would say, and like when I talk, people say, well, Terry's talking his book, and it's not wrong. I have been talking my book, but it's not that I'm not saying the truth either.
Yeah.
But it probably might be easier to hear the message from this individual who's obviously like an Order of Canada guy. So he's beyond approach, and we think it'll really help to bring the message home of the desperate need for this change. I mean, I would say we're at a 4-alarm fire status right now. Given the state of, I didn't realize it was this bad, to be honest with you. That's the scary part.
Well, I mean, obviously I didn't know the numbers because I didn't know the numbers. I completely botched them, but once listings are down, delists happen. People, some of these companies are raising some money. They're paying their fees to stay listed. Well, now everybody's going to lose.
Yeah.
People are going to start paying a lot of attention to, how do we solve that problem once everyone starts losing money? That's just kind of how things work sometimes. And actually, that's not how they work, because it shouldn't get to that point.
Well, I mean, they've already been losing money, right? The stocks are, if you look at this TSXV index, unfortunately, despite there being a strong commodity market, like we're a top quartile commodity market, TSXV is still bumping along the lows. And people naively say, it's a cyclical business, it'll come back. We've been in this cycle for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
This is not a cycle. There's something structurally wrong. And even when the good times are coming, and they are coming, we won't be able to robustly respond to it. And this is the danger, because you'll miss this cycle, and then you'll wait another 10 years for another cycle. And by then, all the expertise that we've built up in this country over generations will be gone.
Yeah.
So it's a mission critical time of life here. So we hope to be able to make some real changes and to get the support of the community and other mining companies. I announced that we needed to raise $250,000. If Power Nickel or Power Metallic committed to putting up $25,000. We've got some other companies coming up, but if there's companies listening to this that want to come and get involved, by all means reach out to me. 5,000, 10,000, doesn't matter. Like, let's get involved, because we need some initial capital to lock and load with this new team, and then I'll be pressing PDAC to make a major contribution. There's no doubt about it. They're sitting on a lot of cash, and if there's a more critical issue than this, I certainly don't know it.
Yeah, they can help out. I understand. Well, it seems like things are going to start to roll there, or on Wednesday. Terry's going to come in there and start talking things that need to be at the forefront.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what they that's what I campaigned on. So there'll be no surprises that I'll be asking those questions.
Yeah.
And hopefully I think with that numbers, the stuff we saw at the annual meeting yesterday, I think PDAC itself is recognizing that, hey, this is that was the only presentation they made was on those numbers. So clearly, I think they had realized it's a very big problem, and they want to do what they can to help. So let's be positive and open-minded that they'll be supporters.
I think we did a drive, a couple weeks ago.
We did.
If that. Has anything else come out? Because you guys put out news so often now.
You know what? Nothing further, I don't think, has come out other than the name change. Obviously, we switched officially from Power Nickel to Power Metallic. I think that was. I think we were maybe announcing it, or we discussed it, in the last show, but it's now official. We obviously we were in closed our I think we had announced the financing, but we hadn't closed it, so we closed $50 million on last Thursday. So that was upsized and
so bring on the tariffs.
Yeah. I mean, we think that tariffs will ultimately work its way out. By the time we're producing, that'll be built into business models all the way around. And if it's there, we'll deal with it. And if it's not there, we'll deal with that too. So at the end of the day, does America need our critical minerals? 100%. So if they don't want it, there'll be other places that buy it, but they want it. Listen, it's my take on the tariffs is that President Trump wants to stop the Canada and Mexico from being the backdoor entrance with cheap Chinese products like aluminum and steel and stuff like that, that are taking away a lot of American jobs, and so this is how they're going to deal with it. And I think eventually, if Canada and Mexico come on side with that, make sure that that's shut down, I think the tariffs may disappear.
That's really important. I don't think I've heard anyone say that, Terry.
Yeah, well, that's what I hear from. I was just in Miami, and we're just getting this guy on our advisory board who's on the Council of Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, and he's in the room, and that's what I'm hearing. So I think that'd be a positive spin, and it makes sense, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the Americans are tired of getting walked on, and we can't blame them for that. And Canada, unfortunately, we took the easy path, and eventually when you take the easy path, eventually you pay a hard price.
Yeah.
We're paying the hard price now.
Yeah.
We didn't do the right things. We didn't get our pipelines coast to coast, and there's all sorts of excuses, but it should not have happened. We should have had that happen, because now we're negotiating on bended knee, which is never a good position. But here we are, but so we gotta, we gotta man up now and stand up and do the right thing, get our defense policies in order so we actually do protect our border, and get our our international trade structure in place so that we're not stealing from the Americans, and eventually, listen, I'm not worried. We're not going to become the 51st state. I mean, that's just not going to happen in my mind. I just don't see that happening. Could a EU scenario happen where there's something like that, an economic
Mexico,
union?
yeah.
That to me would make a lot of sense. And I would be, I think when I look in the States, I see a lot of weird shit, that sort of is annoying, like this 51st state stuff.
But Trump does that. He floats things out there.
He's very dramatic. But I look at Doge, and Maha, and I think, now that stuff I can get behind. And if the Americans come in and if they're able to take out 20 or 30% of their bureaucratic cost structure and balance the budgets, I mean, every country in the world will have to do that, because
they'll be leaders.
Nobody can compete against Americans if you don't do that. So we all have to be competitive, so that will force us to do the same. And if people think that the only guys in the world that are wasting money are U.S. aid, well, they'd be naive, right? I mean, It's happening here. We just don't know the name of the organizations, or maybe somebody does, but it's 100% happening here, and we need to stop that, because think of all the hardworking people. I mean, I walk around Toronto and I see lots of things shut down, and I'm thinking, man, this place just doesn't have the energy. I remember when I was a kid and I graduated, I went to Calgary in '81. Man, the Calgarians, you felt like they were going to take on the world,
Yeah.
And now when I go to the Arabian Peninsula and to Saudi Arabia, that's the energy I get over there.
Right.
I don't get that energy here. I get there's a lot of hopelessness and a lot of despair. And man, as a Canadian, I'm just depressed. But I mean, I think we also have to. We're hockey players, and we're tough people given the environment we live in. So I think we just got to shake ourselves off and dust ourselves up and get up and get back at it. But we need to recognize, look in the mirror, and understand that, hey, we got here by our own moves, and we need to get out of here by our own moves.
Yeah, let's figure out who our government's going to be. Regardless of what you and I think. I mean,
Yep.
let's figure that out first, and then see what direction we're headed in. Hopefully not the same one or a worse one, but that's perspective.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So it's we'll keep our fingers crossed. It's a scary time, for people, and we need to start to make some practical decisions, and it's like, immigration. I mean, hey, listen, we're all immigrants. My grandfather came over, and my grandmother came over from Ireland and Scotland. So it's like everyone that's here, other than our First Nations, are immigrants. And it's like, so we're a pro-immigration country, and I remain pro-immigration, but we gotta assimilate people in a number, in a style that makes sense. And it's like, there needs to be. We used to have a merit-based system, worked very well. That's what the Aussies use. I don't know why we can't go back to that. That seems to me the practical thing to do, and we obviously need to stop immigration completely, except for urgent situations, because we're overwhelmed right now.
Yeah, we got to figure out our problems.
And it's just like we're going bankrupt quick, and we got to stop the bleeding, and get back to some sort of normal footwork, because every system we have is overtaxed. You try and go and get health care, try and, the roads, housing, gee. It's like, but okay, over time we can skate this back on, through economic growth, and especially we get mines and some of these things going, but we got to stop the bleeding. We're bleeding from all orifices right now, man.
Let's leave it here.
Okay.
What are the next catalysts that Power Metallic shareholders can look forward to?
Yeah. So I think, going forward, we're going to be governed by our assays, because it's the whole idea is we got a growing resource, really two resources, the nickel sulfide resource, and the copper sulfide resource. So as those resources grow, based on analyst estimates, they're going to, that will move the dial in terms of as we increase the resources, and you got more value in the ground, so we should get more value in the market. So that's what should drive the market for power metallic. And I think that the reason why we were able to have such a healthy response on the investment side was that we showed investors that we were worth 20-30% of what our peers are trading at. So we expect a re-rating at some point. This market's choppy here this last little bit because of the Trump uncertainty and stuff. I think that'll shake out over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And then I think they'll, as we get more assays out, I think, especially, hole 94 comes out on the eastern expansion, and we start to get more of our deeper results in from around the Lion Zone, and people start to see how big this thing truly can be. Then this thing is going to start to move to the upside and re-rate. And then as the more as analysts continue to forecast increasing resource numbers, then I would think the value should go up. That's how the math should work.
Yeah.
Now markets can be unreasonable from time to time, but over time, at the end of the game, there's only good companies and good stocks, and bad companies and bad stocks. So if you great value in the ground, especially it's high margin. This is like very $500 rock in theory. So that's very profitable rock to mine. So as long as we're doing that, then I expect we'll have a very strong 2025. And of course, there's no financial overhang, and generally stocks move when there's no financial overhang and you've got good results.
Blue sky.
Blue sky. Carol, as always.
That will conclude our morning drive for Monday at PDAC. And we'll have this out online. Terry, thanks for joining us. And I'm sure I'll be doing something with you in the next 6 weeks or so.
It sounds like it. Okay,
right.
Cheers, man. Take care.
Follow the Money Investor Group is a 100% Indigenous-owned company and certified with the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business.